Hey guys, it's Terragaze here, and I just want to bring to you guys kind of a video here over the tier list of the survivors in Identity V. And I kind of want to make a list here just kind of see where I would place them, because I don't even know where I'm placing them. I'm kind of just going in this. I made this tier list, and I'm just recording off the top of my head here. So I made like a little PowerPoint to kind of like jumble or keep my thoughts, organized. But other than that, it's pretty much just what my raw take is on them. So we're going to start off here with the Gardener. So the Gardener, she has... I'm not a big fan of the Gardener, I'll be really honest, but she has a vaulting speed increase, which is pretty useful. She can disable chairs, and whenever they're disabled, the killer can't see them whenever he picks up a survivor. It actually doesn't register on like the aura reading, which is good, but they can just repair it immediately. And I kind of put in the meh area. She gets a 50, she's a shield for the first 50 seconds of the game, but that's so super situational, and I don't really like that too much. It's useful if it's given the opportunity to be useful. Her cons I have, she can break the chairs. Whenever she breaks chairs, it alerts the killer that she's breaking it, and they can be repaired with absolutely no penalty to the killer. So she's also batshit crazy, so I'm gonna put her, and probably make a lot of people upset right off rip, is C tiers, where she's gonna go in. Moving on, we have the Lawyer. If this was a map on how much I like people, he would definitely be in D tier because he's kind of an asshat, but he has a map so he can identify where objectives are, and that's pretty useful, and he can sometimes see the killer on that. He can increase cipher speeds for those around him, and he's a veteran, much like the Gardener, and mainly they're the main like 4 characters, which is nice because they can run faster when they get hit, or longer, and that can be useful in losing the killer. So I'm gonna have to put him, just because the objective of the game is doing the ciphers and decoding, he's going to go in A tier because he's really useful in a group, because you can get a huge stacking boost on finishing gens, ciphers, and that's really what you need. I might use gens sometimes when I'm talking about this because I'm from Dead by Daylight, so please forgive me. If I say gens, I mean ciphers. But he does have cons. His vaulting speed is slow, so it kind of hurts whenever he gets chased down. That's what kind of keeps him out of anything higher. The Doctor... The Doctor is honestly probably one of the best starting characters in my opinion. She can heal allies faster. She can heal herself without needing anyone to help her, and she makes others on her team heal faster as a whole, which is pretty great. Global buffs are always really nice. Her only con is that she's got a weakness, is that she can vault over pallets slower, but that's not as bad. I'm gonna leave her in S tier for now, just because she's good. But I don't know. I feel like I don't want to clutter the S tier. So if she's in the S tier, she's in very low S tier, very high A tier. So we'll put her in A tier in front of Lawyer for now, but she might get moved up in the S tier depending on how I like at the end of the video here. So next we have the Thief. He has flexibility and lockpick, which is a pretty good ability. He can make allies pick up things faster from chests, which can be useful, and the flexibility makes him better losing the killer. But his cons, he's a hoarder, which makes decoding harder, and the flashlight he gets is really not that useful because flashlights in this game are super inconsistent. So I'm gonna have to put him at B, just because it's nice that he gets a global buff. That's the only reason that keeps him from being in C tier with the lockpicks, but other than that, that's pretty much where he's gonna go ahead and sit at. So next we have the Magician. So he starts off with the magic wand, which is pretty nice. You can use it to kind of dupe out the killer, which can be very, very useful. And he gets movement speed while he's doing it, which is unique to him compared to other people using it. But you can still get terror struck during it, and that really hurts the wand as itself. I think it's kind of lame. That's probably for an item tier list I should do some other time. But he also can decode, his meh is he can decrease decoding triggers, and increase his own success rate for him. But that's okay, I guess. But decreasing decoding triggers, I think, is actually almost a con in a lot of people. If you're good at landing skill checks, you actually want more skill checks, because then you can finish the cipher you're working on faster. And he takes longer to untie, which just actually gives me a headache. I don't understand. If he's a magician and he's supposed to be a masterful at escaping things, or an escape artist, why does it take him longer to get out of the chair? I feel like it should be the other way around. He should be faster to untie because he's already working on it himself, or something like that. I don't know, but because of that, I'm gonna have to put him in B tier. Just because it's cool, the magic wand's useful, but it's just not, overall it's not that good, I don't feel like. And the Explorer. So if you guys ever watched any of my videos, you know I'm a main Explorer, and I'm going to be a little bit biased, but I'm at least going to give you the most reasoning behind him that I can. I'm going to put him in S tier. That's just where he's going to be at. And mainly is because he can shrink, which is amazing. He can complete 150% of Cypher progress basically for free by searching for clues. Doing a little bit of quick math, it takes a Cypher alone 80 seconds to finish by yourself. Searching for a clue takes 20 seconds. So you can finish that in 60 seconds, get all 3 of your codes, and finish 150% of Cypher progress before someone else alone can finish one gen. The net there is actually just insane. Him shrinking down is fantastic because you can, be super immersive. He gets a bonus movement speed for sitting still, which is great because that's what he's doing a lot of the game. So he gets a huge movement speed buff just for standing there. And then one of my favorite things is when he vaults over things, he doesn't alert the killer, which is fantastic. And also on Undash, he makes his little marks he leaves disappear a second earlier. He's an easy S tier, in my opinion. The con he has is actually what I was talking about before. I think it's more of a strength than a con, because he triggers more skill checks. But if you're good at landing skill checks, that doesn't matter, because then you can land the perfect skill checks and actually increase the the gen completion speed as a whole. So I still think he's honestly an easy S tier. So we have the Mercenary next. So he gets his Iron Dash with these gloves that he can dash around. He gets multiple charges, which is really good. Not to mention he takes 3 hits to go down, which is pretty phenomenal. Just because anytime it takes harder for you to go down is great. And his 3rd and last hit is actually delayed. It kind of gives you a last effort, which is nice. He's slower at decoding, so that's kind of what's going to stop him from being an S tier. He's a great... Just because that is the objective of the game, right, is to do the decoding. He's going to be high A tier easy, if maybe low S tier. I might move him in the S tier depending on later. I'll reevaluate this way at the end and see how I feel. But he's definitely high A tier. And only downside also is he has a huge reduction on his healing, and it can stack up to a giant 100% reduction, which is pretty crazy. So he's definitely low A tier, or sorry, high A tier, low S tier maybe. So then we have the Coordinator. So her pros is she gets a freaking Glock, so that's kind of cool. And it also stuns longer when she uses it, which is really nice. And she has decreased vaulting times, which is great. But her cons, she sometimes, if someone's in a rocket chair, she reduces the time that she takes to decode. So she's going to be low A tier, high B tier. It's probably where I would put her. That sounds pretty good for me for now. I don't know. I don't want to get A tier too cluttered either. So we have the Mechanic next. The Mechanic's actually pretty good. I like her. Pros is she gets a robot. And not only that, she can use the robot to rescue herself. She can work on 2 gens at the same time. She can do this stuff while incapacitated or on a chair. She's very strong and has a high skill cap in that matter. But the downside is that, when she's in the chair or someone's in the chair, she decodes and it stacks by and it reduces it by 30%, or not 30%, but it reduces it by its stack, and then she vaults 30% slower, kind of similar to the Mind's Eye, which is really slow. She also gives a small buff globally too, which is really good to all allies. So with her skill cap, she's going to go in the S tier for sure. Even with those negative side effects, she can just do a whole lot, which is good. So now we're moving on to Forward. I've been playing Forward quite a bit recently, and I kind of like where he's at. So Forward is nice because he has this rugby ball that I can use, and he can stun killers. He can do so many saves throughout the game. Even with one football, you can get like 4 to 5 saves out of it if you play it well. Maybe that's still a high ball, maybe 3 to 4. He can drop pallets like mixtapes. He can stun harder with said pallets, and he can wiggle out faster. And he synergizes absolutely amazing with the Persona tree, which is awesome. Only downside is he's really slow at decoding. He's almost the slowest, and that is the objective of the game. So we're going to put him in better than the Lawyer. I'm going to put him in mid-A tier. He's definitely good. He's close to S tier, I'll be honest. He's really close to getting S tier. It's just that decoding is what kind of brings it down. I mean, he's honestly... No, he's got some good utility. He's going to go in low S tier. Easy low S tier. Let's see. Next we have the Mind's Eye. So the Mind's Eye's pros are, pretty nice. She can absolutely decode like a mad lass, which is great. She has a huge 30% increased bonus speed decoding, and that puts her way up on the list just to begin with. She can reveal hunters and allies and ciphers to the whole team for 30 seconds, which is also really strong. Her cons is kind of stressful to play with her because you have a different vision set than normally what you're used to. She's going to be in low S tier for sure. I don't like her in S tier. She's going to be in high A tier. Probably the highest in A tier. And she uses similar like echolocation, and her vault rates are really, really slow, which kind of can jeopardize her. But if she's working on gens, she can honestly, you know what? Let's put her in low S, because she's just those gens she can just rush out. She can punch those gens straight down for free, which is great. If she's not bothered throughout the game, like, you have an absolute problem on your hand. Next we have the lucky guy, and he's kind of the epitome of mid tier. So I'm just going to put him in B tier. He can get whatever he wants from the chest, which is great with a 50% success rate, and he's a veteran. He doesn't really have any cons. He's not absolutely phenomenal at the game, but he's not, like, bad. So I'd put him in, you know, like, B tier. Lowest B tier he could be is probably exactly where he's at. So the Priestess is really good. So the Priestess, she can place portals around the map, making her an absolute nightmare to catch, which is great. And she can make a long portal to link her to whoever wants to use it on your team, and that can give her, you know, that's a nice global ability. She also globally lets everyone heal 10% faster, and herself a 30% increased speed, which is really, really nice. So she's definitely in the A tiers and the highs, just because her cons, she can't fully be healed off the ground, so that Nullify is kind of a perk in the Persona tree, which, yes, you can just avoid and put points elsewhere, but that is just a really good perk to have. It can sometimes win you the game if things get down to that. She's got slower vaulting, but you know, like, she has portals, so why are you vaulting anyways? And she can decode slower and has a hard time doing so, which kind of hurts, you know, obviously the objective of the game. She has... And it also kind of sucks that whenever you're reading for her abilities, she has like an actual essay when you're trying to read her abilities, because there's just such a long description for them. So I'll put her in high A tier. Next we have the Perfumer. And I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this one, but I think the Perfumer is honestly the worst. Mainly because she just hasn't have anything really. I'm putting her in D tier. I just am. Because she gets 3 charges on her perfume bottle. Sure, that's great. I'm glad she gets 3 charges on the perfume bottle. That's unique. It's 1 more charge than normal people. But when you look at her con, she has like 1 positive that's not really a positive. It's just increasing an already inherent item in the game. But she has 2 to 3 cons associated with her. So this one was kind of worded a little bit weird, so I might be reading it wrong, but like her skill checks are extra bad on her, because when she messes them up, she reduces the penalty that you would normally take, which is like 2 or 3 or 4%. She increases it by 3 times, so you can knock a gen down by like 12% just by messing up on 1 skill check, which is annoying. And her own self-heal speed is like reduced by 30%, so you can't even heal her that fast if she's hurt, which sucks. But mind you, she has a perfume bottle, so she shouldn't be hurt to begin with, but if she just happens to do so, I don't think she's honestly that great. I think she's just kind of where she's at. Yeah. So next we have the Cowboy. So Cowboy is kind of weird. He's got a lasso, which is really, really strong, I'm not going to lie, and it's double effective against female targets for reasons, I guess. He stuns longer with pallets and decodes faster with females for, I guess, the same reasons, and he can also soak damage for females as well. And cons, on the con side though, just as, you know, we were talking with the other one, it's kind of the flip. So if just he's penalized for males, so if he decodes slower and even slower with males around by like 40%, and if he has someone up on the lasso, if you get hit while you're holding a male, you both go down. So it's kind of stuff, or at least you'll go down immediately and the other person might get away. I can't remember how that works, that interaction. I think you just take 2 hits and you just die, and you might both go down, I'm not sure. But he's gonna definitely, his lasso is really strong, and it's just his decoding speed is what gets me, so he's gonna have to be high B tier, low A tier. His ability can be very versatile though, because you can save people. You know what? He's going to be low A tier, because you can save people from chairs, and that can be really, really useful, because you get that distance on side, and it stops like camping and stuff like that, which is useful. So we'll do low A tier. I just think his abilities are just a little weird. So next we have the female dancer. So we have pros. Literally everything. I actually put this tier down here at the bottom, this question mark tier, for a reason. Because absolutely she has her own tier, and she is going into the most highest tier. Literally she has a music box which can slow killers. She can use that same music box to speed herself up and allies. When falling from a great height, she gets a huge movement speed. So if you go in the far left side of the persona tree with her, it is as stupid. You get a movement speed for vaulting pallets. You get a movement speed for vaulting over windows. You get a movement speed for falling off high distances. You can kite literally until the end of time with her. And I've literally sat through a game and kited a killer around the kill shack for literally all 5 gens, and he never touched me. And it's kind of ridiculous how you can do that with her. She's so strong where she's at. So I'm gonna say, yeah. And her cons, I guess, would be her slowing box does slow allies, but it's kind of like a big blue thing on the map, so maybe you shouldn't walk into it. Just kind of like, it's not hard to see, I guess. So yeah, she's definitely way up there in whatever tier this is, question mark tier, which is actually higher than S tier. So Seer, he's got a really cute as heck owl, which is awesome, and he can spectate allies. He can even block damage for them, and he can reveal the hunter in the beginning of the game, and even when he's in chase with them, he's still also revealing that hunter to everybody, which is super, super nice. So we can kind of give the edge on the allies, telling them, hey, in the beginning, we're going up against so-and-so, which can kind of, help people with their play styles. The more he blocks shots, the slower he gets, but the skill cap he has on his owl is going to put him in low S tier, just because it's quite useful that you can have that option to do so, because you can always save allies and, make some clutch moves, and gives him a pretty high skill cap. Next, we have the Embalmer. So when I said the Perfume was going to be the last person in D tier, I actually lied. So the Embalmer is going down there as well. And I kind of feel bad because I really, really like this character's design. And he can revive allies, and multiple times at that, which sounds so strong as a pro. However, his cons just so outweigh his pros. So not only does he decode slower with allies, the stipulation required for him to revive allies is under so much stress that it's almost not even worth it. You have to record them, so you have to go find them first in the game. You have to hopefully run into them and record their face. And then whenever you have to put their face down knowing beforehand that they're going to go down, because if they're incapacitated or if they're put into a chair or been in a chair for too long, you can't put their information down and revive them, so they're going to die anyways, which is super unfortunate. And it just kind of reduces his gameplay and kind of doesn't really have a good spot for him, because he's not good at decoding, he's not good at kiting or saving. I don't know what else he's supposed to be, so he's definitely going to be down there in D tier as well. Unfortunately, he does have a rework coming up, so I'm pretty excited for that. We'll see where they go with that. Next, we have the Prospector. So the Prospector is going to be I'd probably say S tier, just for the same reason, kind of like the Explorer. He'd probably be high S tier, to be honest, because he has a nice skill cap, which is good. He can attract or repulse players, including killers, making for some crazy plays you can do with him. He gets a huge movement speed buff when ciphers are finished, which is awesome, and it can heal people faster. His con is he increased the skill check difficulty, but much like the Explorer, he's not actually reducing the speed of the ciphering, which is great, which makes it strong. He's just increasing the chances that he has skill checks, which can be used in a strong aspect, because then you can get the perfect skill checks and actually increase your overall speed in completing gens. So I don't really find those as cons. They're technically cons, but I really think if you're good enough with it, they can be pros. So that's pretty good. That's the reason why Explorer and Prospector are so high on that list. Next, we have the Enchantress. So the Enchantress is actually really good. She's a really good player. I'd probably put her, I don't know where I'm going to put her yet. Basically, she has a really high skill cap, and she can stun people, which is awesome. She can do so many saves with a little monkey skull that she has, and she can stack it like crazy too, putting it on allies and such. I'd probably put her in the A range, mid A range, because she can do saves. She's slower at being healed is the only con she really has. So she's pretty strong. If she's not, she could be close to S tier. She's going to be in high A tier, very, very close to S tier. So Wildling. So Wildling is, he has such a good kit, as in he gets a mount, which is first pretty awesome, right? He can block hunters, detection abilities, and he's so crazy fast on his mount, and he can block damage while mounted, which is awesome. He doesn't even hurt himself, and he can stun he can also charge at the killer and make them drop people, which is awesome, or kind of just annoy the killer, which is good for helping your team get away in some scenarios. But that's only when he's mounted, and that's for a fraction of the game, because most of the time you're walking around with him as alone, and he's the slowest survivor in the game. game. He's the worst at decoding in the game flat with a 40% reduction rate, which is so very high. So I'm gonna have to put him in the same category. He's got a high skill cap if he's used well, but if he's not used well, he's gonna have to be in low B tier, almost C tier, just because that 40% reduction on that decoding speed just really hurts anybody. Because like then that's kind of like, unless he's gonna kite the killer forever, which he can't because eventually his hog does run out. You can't. So unless he can't inherently like keep the killer, you know, at bay for a long time, only for a small period of times. So he doesn't really bring that much to the team apart from a few saves. So I'd say, honestly, yeah, low B tiers, maybe high C tiers, like definitely higher than the Gardener. Next we have the Acrobat. And the Acrobat's kind of in a weird spot, but in a good way. He gets bombs when he does stuff around the map, and the types of bombs he does different things, all from disabling the killer's abilities, giving him reducing their interactions, and even slowing the killer, which is kind of useful. But he opens up gates slower. He's kind of like, he's meh in my opinion. Like, he's got some good stuff, but he's kind of meh. So he's higher than the Wild. No, probably not even. Yeah. He can still do his stuff faster. The door opening is really not that big of a deal because it's in game anyways, and there's 2 options to do with that. And I guess it sucks if you're in that scenario, but just don't be in that scenario. The first officer. So I actually like the first officer. So First Officer is very good at kiting. He can put up an illusion of himself, granting him movement speed that is delayed for the hunter by about a second. I think it says a second in the actual thing, and making him very hard to pin down. He also gets movement speed during that mode, which is awesome. So it's even harder, and he can stay in the chair longer, a little bit longer by reducing, them by 20%. Whenever you untie people, it actually sends out like a hypnotic clone to run out another direction as you untie somebody, so potentially tricking the killer there, which is the camping is so strong in this game that it warrants him in a pretty nice spot. So he's definitely going to be high A tiers for sure, maybe not past the Enchantress, but he's not the Doctor either. He's probably like right there. I think that's good, right below the Doctor in the A tier, which is nice. Move her back and actually that's pretty good. So yeah, he's good. He's in the A tier, probably almost smack dab in the middle, which is pretty good. His cons is he can decode. He decodes 20% slower. That's also kind of hurts him, but that's kind of that's why he's in A tier, is because of that decoding reduction. Last but not least, we have the Barmaid. She can get freaking drunk. So that's dope. She can also make some cool drinks and have varying effects, such as increasing movement speed or even healing the person over time, sometimes both. And she also has like a 20% chance to beat you at beer pong, which is also a pretty good ability. Her cons is her healing can be interrupted, and while you're drunk you actually decode a little bit slower, and she cannot serve to underage like participant, Mind's Eye and the coordinator specifically, and that's actually not a joke. Like, she can't use her ability on them, like they're like, it's just like a mechanic in the game. So which is good, I guess. I'm just checking for cards. So she still is very useful, so I'd probably put her above First Officer. Probably put her above the Doctor, or at least right on par with the Doctor. That's pretty much it, and there's my tier list, guys. That's exactly what I think here, and if you like what you saw, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of your hair, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Take it easy. Bye. Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.